WordPress store content breaks when publishing and ownership split apart. What WordPress 6.6 changed for store content? A reusable block can keep its structure. Its message changes, though, in an e-commerce catalog. That changes who can edit what, how claims get reviewed, and how quickly outdated language spreads. WordPress 6.6. Released on July 16, 2024. Added overrides for synced patterns. WordPress explains the feature in its official 6.6 release announcement, with more background in the WordPress patterns documentation. A synced pattern keeps its shared layout. Selected text and images can change on individual pages. WordPress 6.6 separates shared structure from page-specific details. A WooCommerce team can use one comparison block across a catalog. It keeps the same headings and spacing, while each item displays its own measurements. A delivery notice can follow one visual system while showing a different shipping promise for each item. Consistency no longer requires every page to say the same thing. Imagine a waterproof hiking boot called the Ridgeway Waterproof Boot. Its category page and 4 related pages could share a block named Ridgeway Fit and Care Guide. Block might contain a sizing heading, a fit note, plus a care section with practical details. Each item instance could then explain whether that particular boot runs narrow or fits true to size. The shared portion might cover how to remove salt from the outsole. A local override could explain that one version has an insulated lining and needs extra drying time. A shopper searching "Does this hiking boot run small?" reaches useful guidance on the item they're considering. Rather than meeting the same generic paragraph for the 5th time, this flexibility changes the work assignment. Someone needs to own the source pattern. Someone else needs to sign off on claims. And editors need to know which fields they can change safely. Shared editing improves a store only when those boundaries are visible. A common mistake is treating an override as a design setting and skipping the ownership decision. An editor changes the visible fit note and assumes the size chart and product attributes still match the care copy. They may not be. Document every reusable pattern with its owner and editable fields. The merchandiser can approve sizing claims, the content editor can shape shopper-facing language, and the developer can protect the layout. Assign the claim before assigning the cursor. Who gains control and who inherits the risk? WordPress 6.6 gives more contributors room to edit store pages. That changes the work. Role boundaries become part of content governance because a field may be easy to change, while the claim behind it belongs to someone with different expertise. Every important field needs one accountable owner. The merchandiser owns product truth. For a ceramic pour-over coffee maker, that person confirms the filter size and capacity, along with the material and compatible accessories.
The editor owns publishable language.
They turn those facts into copy that helps a shopper choose the right version. The developer owns the reusable pattern structure. They decide where product facts appear, which text can receive an override, and what stays consistent across the catalog. Each role has authority over a different part of the page. The risk appears when those boundaries exist only in people's heads. A founder may know that the coffee maker takes a 0.2 Tykes filter and works best with a 300-gram water ratio. A freelancer writes the description. Nobody owns the brewing guidance after publication. The page can still look polished. Its specification area may be accurate, while the visible instructions tell shoppers to use a filter that doesn't fit. Search engines and AI systems receive mixed signals, while the buyer gets a confident-sounding page that avoids the practical question. Small teams should name an owner for each important field, with a backup for vacations and launch weeks. The team can't approve a brewing ratio. An individual can. Use the pattern settings to make that arrangement visible. The editor can change the introduction and brewing explanation when those fields are open for local edits. The merchandiser approves claims about filter size and capacity before publication. Keep a short approval record beside the brief. It should identify the owner, backup, source of the fact, and last review date. If a supplier changes it, the next editor knows where to start. This small decision often speeds up publishing because fewer edits bounce between roles. Good governance removes guesswork from the queue. Why shared patterns can multiply stale copy. A shared layout can keep a catalog orderly, but it can also go wrong, quietly. WordPress's patterns documentation explains the distinction. Synced patterns update across their instances, while overrides let selected elements vary by instance. Shared structure can distribute stale meaning across an entire catalog. Take a recycled wool winter coat. It has a care section, called Winter Coat Care. The block uses the same heading and spacing on the collection page and several item pages. Its care sentence says dry clean only, because that matched the supplier sheet when the block was created. Later, the supplier changes the instruction to cold machine wash. Someone updates the coat's main description. The collection page gets a manual edit too. The reusable care block still carries the old instruction across other pages. The error may look small in the editor, but it becomes a bigger search problem because shoppers can find both versions through separate URLs. It also gives AI systems conflicting evidence when they summarize the catalog. A reusable block is efficient until no one remembers where it appears. Teams often search for visible phrases and miss matching wording inside reusable blocks. Template parts and older landing pages can keep a claim alive after the main description has been corrected. Create an inventory that aligns with the object and the URL. Record these details for every reusable block. Field: what to record. Example block name, the label used in the editor. Winter coat care pages using it collections and item URLs with the block coat collection and 5 product pages. Claim approver, the person who confirms the statement. Merchandising lead, next review, the condition or date for checking the claim before the next cold weather launch. This record works best when a supplier update triggers a review. The merchandiser checks the care sheet, the editor checks shopper-facing copy, and the developer checks whether the reusable block still distributes the old wording. Each person has a defined inspection point. Review high-risk claims before a campaign sends more shoppers to the catalog. Care instructions deserve special attention because a wrong sentence can damage a garment and create avoidable returns. WordPress 6.6 gives stores finer control over repeated page elements. The inventory determines whether that control catches a stale claim or spreads it further. Where revision history stops protecting the buyer. Revision history records an edit. Governance records why the edit happened. That difference matters. It really does. Especially when a shared block carries information across many pages. The revision panel can show that an editor changed 10-inch fitting to 12-inch fitting, but it will not show which supplier document triggered the correction or whether the installation guide also needs an update. Consider a replacement water filter cartridge called ClearFlow CF1012. A supplier batch changes the fitting size from 10 inches to 12 inches. So the product description is corrected before the next shipment, but the installation guide still directs shoppers to the old model. And a comparison table carries the original measurement inside a reusable pattern. A shopper searching for a 12-inch replacement cartridge can reach the right listing. They can read the wrong guide. Then the order gets abandoned when the parts appear incompatible. The store has a visible edit in its history. Yet the buyer has no reliable way to tell which information governs the purchase. For claims that affect purchase confidence, require a compact record with these fields: the source document, such as a supplier specification or signed warranty sheet, the person who approved the replacement wording, the date or event that requires the old claim to be replaced, the page group affected, including guides and shared patterns. Search visibility can soften after factual drift because editors keep the established URL while gradually weakening the answer. Shoppers came to find. A page may hold its position for a while, then lose clicks when the title promises compatibility and the body leaves the fitting question unresolved. Review claims about material composition and compatibility as purchase evidence, along with warranty coverage and delivery restrictions. For the ClearFlow cartridge, check the listing, installation guide, comparison table, plus every reusable block that displays the fitting size. How update cadence creates predictable visibility gaps. A content calendar can't detect a product fact that changes between scheduled meetings. WordPress 6.6 gives teams more control over shared patterns and local overrides. But it doesn't decide when a store should review a claim. That's the publishing process's job. A monthly meeting might refresh a buying guide in January, and a carrier may change its cabin bag limit in February. The 20-inch Aerolite carry-on can still keep an old dimension graphic showing 22 by 14 by 9 inches. The text says 21.7 by 14.2 by 8.6 inches. A shopper comparing those measurements with an airline's current guidance will see a conflict in the buying decision. Use 2 review rhythms. One starts when a product specification changes. The other runs on a schedule. And it covers pages with steady demand, whose information gets stale over time. Apply it to carry-on collections that earn search impressions each week. The event trigger should create a work item tied to the affected product and the shared asset. Before the change reaches shoppers, the owner checks the listing and image asset. Scheduled reviews can run by page group. High-demand products get checked before low-traffic editorial posts. A simple priority rule keeps a lean team moving. Start with pages that earn strong impressions but weak clicks. Move to pages with clear purchase intent and unanswered customer questions. Escalate claims that could cause a return. Failed delivery or compatibility complaint. Review shared blocks before campaign traffic makes an outdated statement more visible. Teams often refresh blog posts while product listings keep outdated specifications. An article may explain how to choose a cabin bag. Yet the page closest to checkout still carries the old Aerolite measurement graphic. The content closest to the buying decision matters most. For the Aerolite carry-on, replace the graphic. Verify the text against the current measurement sheet and inspect the mobile layout, where the image may crop the final dimension. Cadence becomes useful when a change in the product record starts the review. What a lean WordPress team should change after the release. Small WordPress teams need a publishing agreement before shared editing spreads a mistake. The WordPress 6.6 Field Guide describes changes that affect patterns and editing workflows. The practical shift is in the handoff, so content owners need to know who controls a reusable block and who can authorize a rollback. Put the agreement on one page, name the owner and final approver. Assign a reusable block owner. Then define the review trigger and rollback decision maker. For a store selling regulated personal care products, those roles prevent a marketer from quietly changing a claim that needs specialist approval. Use these checks before shared material goes live. Identify every affected page, template, and reusable pattern. Confirm the wording against the current source claim. Preview the content on a phone and a wide screen. Record the approval and identify the person who can reverse the release. Apply the checklist to a single product edit as well as a site-wide pattern update. A 5-minute mobile preview can catch clipped dosage text and misplaced buttons that desktop review misses. The approval record also gives the next editor a reason for the wording. Rather than a revision comment that says updated, assign work according to the type of material. A product specialist can approve SPF and ingredient claims, while the content owner approves the shopper-facing explanation of how to apply the product. To learn more, visit heysprite.com today.